Okay. We're good? I just want you to know. Some of you already know because you were here early and I blabbed it. But I brought you all a treat if you would like it. After church, you could take it home if you would like to, or you could eat it in the back, whichever you want to do. But I made it to go, so whatever. Okay, so just don't forget it. It's a little surprise. The title of the message tonight is, and I'm going to do one of the verses out of another translation, and I didn't tell you, but it's okay. You don't have to really worry. But the title of the message is, You Can't Speed Up What God is Doing. Where are you in your life? Are you running ahead of God while God is telling you to walk? Would you see who's in that video room with her? I'm assuming it's someone we know, but I just want to make sure. I said, where are you at in your life? That part? Are you running ahead of God while God is telling you to walk? So are you trying to go ahead of him while he's saying to walk? I just want to double check. The other thing is, are you believing God? Are you believing God's promises, but not really believing that he can do it without your help? See, I know no one in here is doing that. After the worship we went through, I know they're not. Okay? But someone out there who does listen to this, that might be the case. But God already has your life planned out. He's had it planned from the very beginning. We're going to end up turning to Genesis 16 if you would like to. Is where we're going to go for real quickly. But see, God already has had our life planned out from the very beginning. And sometimes the wait is because we need to walk and not run ahead. And it can be because we have not gone through the things that God has planned for us to go through. And I'm not saying those are bad things. Because a lot of times when people say, well, I'm going through, they're insinuating that they don't like what they're going through. Right? It's usually how it comes off. But the thing of it is sometimes when we're wanting to we're at point A and we want to be at point B and we really want to be there right now, and we just feel like we're like in this holding cell, or we're just waiting and waiting. God's already got it planned out. He knows the beginning from the end. For some of us, you may be pressing for a certain job or a certain position, and God is saying, you're not ready. You're not ready for that. You have more hurts that I haven't healed you from yet. Are you with me? And I need to heal you before you're ready for that position. Just because we can be intellectually smart to be able to feel, and we're talking about jobs at the moment, jobs or a certain position, doesn't mean that we're ready. It doesn't always mean that our heart's ready. And if our heart isn't healed the way it needs to be healed, and you step into something, you step into a job or a position that you're really not ready for, but you're intellectually ready, right? You're smart enough, right? But you haven't been healed from past hurts or wounds. And when you step into that, you're not prepared for the new hurts that are coming. The new you weren't ready for the new people that aren't going to be on your side. And you don't know how to deal with that. Are you with me? Does that make sense? But the thing of it is, in that, we have to wait. Because when we wait, and we're then in that position, when we wait on God, see, we can get there. You can get there. But if you're not walking with God and getting there, you're running ahead of Him, you're not prepared at all for what is there. Even though you have it here. Are you with me? There's going to be struggles with that. It's the same thing. You know, it could be a marriage or a relationship. There's things there. You could be trying to force a marriage to happen or a specific relationship. And God's saying, you're to walk, but yet you're running. But either way, you're going to get there. Right? You're going to get there. And you can get there by walking, and all your hurts and your heartaches from past relationships or even a past marriage, right? You can walk with God and those be healed. And then when you're in this new relationship or this new marriage, you can withstand what comes with that. What decisions come with being married, right? Because there's decisions. It's not when you're single, you decide, right? But when you're married, you decide. You're one, but you decide. So sometimes it seems like there's two answers, but really it's one, because when you're in unity, the answer's the same, right? Or I'm going to use you because you guys are, well, I can use you both sets over here. I'm going to use both sets over here. So they're together. They're sitting together. Something can come up. They could be at home. It doesn't matter. And I'll use the women, for example. They're needing to make a decision, and it rose up in her spirit the answer. It can rise up in his spirit and him turn and look at her and said, you know, I think we should do this. She just got her confirmation. They're one. The answer was the same. That's how it's supposed to be. Right? Those things happen when you walk with God and you don't run ahead of Him. Every day we all make decisions. You decide to get in the car, not to get in the car, go to work, not to go to, there's always a decision that's made. And in every decision, even those, we need to be walking with God. He may say, wait 5 more minutes. Because you're about to detour. We're about to avoid something, right? Wait 5 more minutes. We need to make sure we're walking with Him so we're hearing Him say those things. And that we're obedient to those things. It's very important. Very important. Or you can run into those marriages or relationships and you're running and you're not walking with God. And you can get there without being prepared. And you can be hurt even more and end up in worse shape than you were before. And I'm saying in worse shape than if you would have waited and you were walking with God. Because, we have free will. We're allowed to choose. But we need to be making His choices, right? And there's some people that might not feel very content in their life right now. They might feel unappreciated, right? I mean, we probably all felt that way before at some point, especially being a mom. It can happen, right? But God may be telling you to walk, and you're running, and you're all over the place, and you can't even keep track of anything. And nothing seems to be going right. Everything's chaos. All because you are running ahead of God. You're trying to control. You're trying to do things the way you want to do them, and you're wanting a response that you are wanting. You're not waiting on God and allowing Him to be the choice that's made. Because when you make the choices that God's having you make, there's peace there. It's peaceful with God. We have to be listening. Because we can choose things our own way and run versus listening to Him say, walk, slow down. I need you to walk. Too fast. We all know that whenever you're doing something and you're doing it really fast and someone walks in the room and you turn and look and you notice they're there. You might even greet them that they're there, but you're still doing what you're doing and you're moving right along, right? Because you're an active person. And they're just talking away and you're like, do what? You weren't listening, were you? But you both were in the same room, right? And they were right there with you. And you knew they were there, right? Because I just told you they were there, right? And I told you that you acknowledged them. You still didn't know what they said because you were going too fast and weren't listening. Right? I mean, I think I operate on fast. Right? That's the only speed I have. No, I'm just kidding. Sometimes. But in Genesis 16:2, Abraham is a prime example of what I'm talking about. That he ran ahead of God. He ran ahead of God while waiting for the promised son. Many years had went by. Many years had went by. And God had promised him a child. And Abraham and we'll say it? Sarai? Yeah, Sarai. That was her name before it was changed. It was her name in this time frame that we're talking about. So Abraham and Sarai were not getting any younger. We all know what that's like. Everyone knows what that's like, right? It's just a number, though. It's just a number. Just a number. But we know that here that Sarai was barren. She hadn't had any children, right? And she told her husband Abraham to go take her handmaiden, Hagar. And he did. Yet he knew what God promised him, but he did. And Hagar conceived. And Sarai despised her. But it was her idea, right? Yeah. But Abraham in that took it upon himself to intervene and rush the process of becoming a father. God already told him he was going to have a child. He already told him. He's going to be a father of many nations. Right? But he ran instead of walked. Like I said, either way, it's going to happen. Right? It's going to happen. It happened. Right? But Abraham's intervention did not speed up him receiving the son God had promised. Abraham and Sarai was running, trying to speed up the process, to speed up what God had said, what he had spoken to them. And he became, in this, a father of Ishmael, right? But that's not what God was intending. But that was a consequence of disobedience because they did their own thing. Right? And when we get ahead of God, we'll have to go through struggles, through consequences, as Abraham. And I say this because Abraham had to send Ishmael, the son he loved, away. He had to turn him and his mother away. Now, God had mercy on her. He graced her. But that wasn't God's plan. Are you with me? God doesn't need our help. He doesn't need us to try to control every situation or every person because you think you're good at it or whatever the reason is. He doesn't need our help at all. He doesn't need you to run ahead of him in disobedience because that's what it becomes. Because you're no longer walking with him when you are ahead of him. See, when you have a solution or an idea, we will be going to James. But when you have a solution or to a situation or an idea about something, I'm going to turn there too. And it may be a difficult situation or a circumstance. We need to make sure that it is in line with what the Word says. I'm going to go here. Well, I'm going to turn to James 3:17. And in the King James Version, it reads, "But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without," are you ready? "Partiality, and without," what? "Hypocrisy." Now I'm going to read that same thing, that same verse, out of the Message Bible. I like to look at different Bibles, like Vernon did, to just see how they read. So this is the Message Bible that I'm going to read from. James 3:17. Real wisdom. Now, what I said was that when we make decisions or situations that we're in, might be difficult, might not be difficult, we need to make sure that they're in line with this. It says real wisdom, God's wisdom, begins with a holy life and is characterized by getting along with others. It is gentle and reasonable, overflowing with mercy and blessings. Not hot one day and cold the next day. Not two-faced. You can develop a healthy, robust community that lives right with God and enjoy its results only. That's italicized. If you do the hard work of getting along with each other, treating each other with dignity and honor. That's like sticking it out there, right? When we run ahead of God, the struggle can be very real. The consequences can be very real. Because when we're not in line with Him, that's called disobedience. There's a consequence to that. There's situations that come from that. And in that can cause real pain. Like Abraham, he loved Ishmael. Says he loved him. And he wasn't a tiny baby when he had to send him away. He had built a relationship with him. But that was a consequence. And he had to go through that. And like I said before, the Lord has given us free will. We are able to make choices. We need to make sure that we're making choices that we can be blessed from, that they're the right choices. Because when we walk with God and we're making choices in line with God, the right choices, meaning we're in obedience, everyone around you prospers. They do. Everyone around you prospers. Because when you're walking, when He's telling you to walk, remember there's peace there. So if you're walking in here with peace, we're all going to benefit from it, right? Peace is like joy. It can be contagious. I call it contagious because if you start like, look, she's smiling. It's making me smile. Now she's smiling. And Becky is, see, look at that. That's free stuff right there. It just went boom, boom, boom. But that's what I'm saying. We can all benefit from it. Because we're in unity with Him. And it's great. It's a blessing. And we want that. We always want that, right? It's not fun to be in disobedience, right? The consequences are never fun, especially when you're a kid and you have a consequence. It's not fun. We've already went through all that, so we don't have to worry about that anymore, right? No. But seriously, we do have free will and we are allowed to make our own choices. But again, we need to make sure that if God is telling us to walk, that we are walking. Because we can get to where we are wanting to go. And if we're there before God tells us to go, I'll use me for an example. I guess I thought I wanted to be married once. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know. I can say that because I'm talking about myself. And I was able to get married, which then made me married, right? But God already knew I was going to be married, and I was supposed to be married. But I was married in hell. That wasn't the right, I was running. I ran before God. What God had was sitting over here, farther down the road. See, like Abraham, the years hadn't happened yet, right? But I ran, I rushed it, and I'm glad it's over. But in that, there was consequences. There was disobedience on my part. Now, I might not have saw it in it, right? Exactly. But when I look back, I know I was in disobedience. I chose to do that. Then, I didn't pray about that. Now, I thought I was supposed to be married if I was going to be hanging out with them, right? I did think that. So I was trying to make it right. Because that's what I thought the word said. Which it did say. If you're going to do particular things, you should be married, right? Just laying it out there. It's the facts. Is that not true? Okay. So when I started getting the word, I thought I was supposed to make it right. No, I was supposed to walk a little slower and hear, that one's not for you. But I did what I wanted to do. So no matter what, I got there, but I had to go through all that to get over here, to the one where I was supposed to be. Do you follow me? So I was allowed to do what I wanted, and I wasted a lot of years, 13 to be exact, for that, all that heartache, pain, right? When I could have waited and skipped that jazz, right? But I got to do what I wanted to do. And then when I slowed down and decided to walk, oh, wait, Jack, that I wasn't supposed to do. Reverse. Got to do game changer. Right? Now I'm listening. Now I'm paying attention. That wasn't meant to be. Those vows were void from get-go on his part. Took me 13 years to figure it out with a preacher. So, but when you walk with him, things are easier. You're blessed. God can bless it. There was no blessing there. The blessing that I felt that I got, that I was still alive. Sometimes I wondered how. I don't know. But it's because I shouldn't even messed with that. Wasted all that time. But God knew I was going to end up over here. I didn't. And I honestly said, if this is what marriage is about, I'm good. Like, no. Not interested. But the thing of it is we have the ability to listen to what God is telling us. And to know what he's telling us. And to know that we know what he's telling us. And we need to be in that state of mind so that we are making the decisions that he's wanting us to make, so it's easier for us in the process. Less heartaches and less pains. Because he will let us do what we want if that's really what we want to do. He will let us. But whether we're waiting for healing, a new job, a breakthrough on something, a marriage, a relationship, whatever it is, if we meditate on Psalms 27:14, where it says, wait on the Lord, be of good courage. What kind of courage? good courage, and he shall be strengthened. Right? Strengthen thine heart. It says, wait, I say, on the Lord. When we wait, we can be blessed. We can be blessed. Just like every single one of us under this roof tonight and watching can be blessed, because even if we've made bad choices or choices that we chose on our own because we thought that's what we wanted, or we thought that's what was best, or that's what we needed, from now, the future, that from this point on, let's choose to walk. If you're running, let's choose to slow down for a second. Slow down long enough to hear, what is God telling you? What is he saying? And if you can't hear what he's saying, don't run. Wait. Be quiet. Listen. We want to be blessed, and we want to be a blessing to everyone around us. Or at least that's what I want to be. And that's what God wants us to be. He wants us to be a blessing to others. So as we leave tonight, I don't want anyone to think that you've messed up and that it's too bad, you can't fix it, and you can't change it. You can't take back things you say or things you do. We can't take those back. Those are out there. But you can steer clear from repeating those things, right? Steer clear from making bad choices. Sit there and wait for what God's telling you to do. Are you with me? Amen? I thank you for everyone watching. Have a blessed night. We love you, and we will see you Sunday morning at 10:45.